Today I want to talk about love, and it's a topic that we hear a lot about here at Center for Spiritual Living, Tampa Bay. A group of professionals asked some children ages 4 to 8 how they would describe love, and this is what they were told. Now, Rebecca, age 8, said, "When my grandmother got arthritis and couldn't bend over and paint her toenails anymore, my grandfather does it for her all the time, even after his fingers got arthritis too. That's love." And Billy, aged 4, says, "When someone loves you, the way they say your name is just different. You know your name is safe in their mouth." And Bobby, age 7, and I love this, says, "Love is what's in the room with you at Christmas if you stop opening Christmas presents and just listen." So, our founder, Ernest Holmes, has many readings that he has said about love, and this is one, and I have a slide for this one. "I believe that love is at the center of everything. Therefore, I accept love as the healing power in life. I permit love to reach out from me to every person I meet. I believe that love is returned to me from every person I meet." So, what I wanted to do today is share a recent experience that I had, and it has left me with a lot of reflecting and thinking about love and gratitude. It was a unique learning experience for me, and I look at life in a different way now. Well, at least most of the time. You know, I've heard that we teach what we need to learn, and I'm the first to admit that I'm a work in progress on this topic. But I hope you can see yourself in some of my experiences and learn what you may need to learn about this. In the middle of my afternoon one day, about 3 months ago, I started feeling sick. And I was very sick all night, and I had pain in my chest and pain in my belly. And in the morning, I drove up to CVS on the corner to get something for maybe indigestion or whatever, but the Minute Clinic was open. And so I went in and told them my symptoms and asked them, "Well, what should I get to help this?" And they told me they couldn't help me, that I needed to go to the nearest ER right away. Now, I wasn't expecting that, and it seemed a bit extreme to me, so I went and bought some things for tummy stuff and got to my car, and I thought, wow, I don't know if I'm willing to do this, but I texted a friend who's a physician, and he got back to me right away, and he said, "Don't go home, go to the closest ER right now." So I drove my car to Tampa General, gave my car to the emergency room valet parking, and as I walked in, I had the thought that I was losing control of my perfectly ordered life. So I had a bunch of tests, blood tests, CT scan, ultrasound, in that first hour I was there, and then they came and told me I was being admitted to the hospital. So I was sick. I was admitted to the hospital when I thought I was just running up the street to CVS to get something to make me feel better. I'm a planner, and none of this was in my plans. I had nothing with me but my purse. So I was in the uncomfortable position of having to call people and ask for help. I don't know about you, but it has always been hard for me to call and ask for help. If I got anybody out there that feels that way, yeah. My mind would hesitate and think, well, they're probably too busy to fool with this, or what if I'm asking too much and it's an inconvenience? And I don't know what that reluctance is about, but I suspect it is about that feeling from an old tape of "I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough." And I had no options. I had to ask for help. I needed someone to feed my cat, someone to go into my messy house and bring my iPad, my chargers, my underwear, my toothbrush. I needed my stuff. I needed someone to come get my car out of valet parking and take it back to my house. I knew that if someone was busy or had to say no, I didn't have another option. I was going to have to ask somebody else. And it was in this asking that I became open to receive. Open to receive. Now, it was out of desperation on my part, but I did become open to receive. And everyone I asked was willing to help me, and I was finally got into a room in the hospital, and I was feeling sick and pretty vulnerable at this point. Word had spread, and I started getting texts and calls in the next few days. And as I lay there, I began to realize how many people I had leaned on and how much love had been extended to me willingly, without hesitation. One man I didn't know very well texted me every day, quoting something he had heard me say and how it had impacted his life. My heart opened more and more as I lay there very sick, and I was receiving what I might have previously been called someone doing me a favor. But I knew it was love. I knew it was more than a favor. I felt the nurses giving me love when they came into my room, and I loved them back. I surrounded my doctors with love, knowing that they would be able to share that. The Course in Miracles, and I have a slide for this, tells us that all expressions of love are maximal. There is no big or little. There is no love being judged or weighed. All expressions of love are maximal. And I kept receiving. I was surrounded and enfolded in love during this time. It was both human and divine, and I knew that. And I began to realize what a blessing this illness had become. I was filled with gratitude for all that I was receiving. And it was because I had opened my heart to receive. On the third day that afternoon, the doctors said they were sending me home to heal, to try to eat, not eat much, but try to eat, take this one pill a day, stay in bed, and I would begin to feel better. The love continued with somebody driving me home from the hospital, helping me get settled in bed. And I noticed as I was going to bed that someone had made my bed while I was in the hospital, you know. So I was home, I was feeling loved, I was feeling very grateful, lucky, and I felt very sick still. So many of you have met my cat, Sherman. Sherman, this is a picture of Sherman. And he's a beautiful boy. You know him from our meetings on Zoom, any meeting that we had here at the center on Zoom. Sherman loved being on Zoom. And he loved being on Zoom, and he loved me. Actually, Sherman loved everybody very freely. He had been my companion for 17 years. And my first day home from the hospital, Sherman and I spent it in bed together. We were cuddling, snuggling. I was petting him. He was purring. It was a wonderful healing day. We spent all day together. The next morning, Sherman suffered a stroke, and he was very, very impaired. And I knew that it was serious. I called my neighbors who had been feeding him while I was in the hospital, and they loved Sherman, and they came over. He was a retired physician, and he confirmed what I had feared, that Sherman needed to be euthanized. So they drove me to the emergency vet. They stayed with me and brought me home without Sherman. And as we were coming home, of course, I was very sad and emotional and feeling a bit tearful. But I was suddenly overcome with gratitude for Sherman's divine timing. He had waited until I had gotten home from the hospital, and we had a full day of loving. before he needed to leave. And it would have been so much harder if he had had the stroke while I was in the hospital and they had had to make the decision and come tell me. Sherman's timing was perfect, and I was just absolutely aware of that. I continued to be filled with gratitude for Sherman rather than the overwhelming grief I had expected and feared that I might experience. And I thought of all that I had learned from Sherman. His sole purpose in life was to love. That's who he was. It was as if he had read the 4 agreements. He didn't take things personally. He did not take things personally. He loved being in my lap, and if I needed to do something or I didn't want him there and I pushed him down and told him to go away, he'd go away for a little bit and then he came back. He was always ready to love. He was far more involved in the loving department than I am. He gave and received love freely to everyone without fear, without any worry, or feeling any lack. He never worried if there was enough love to go around. The gratitude I felt for Sherman and the way he shared his love helped me see and learn more about unconditional love. And we hear a lot about unconditional love. That's the kind of love that Spirit, that God offers each one of us. So I know our pets may be our greatest teachers. And through this week, which might have been called a bad week, I had been given everything I needed. I had not planned any of it. Master planner here had not planned one bit of it. And yet everything flowed. I always had what I needed. And that's when I began to realize what we have heard and what I've been taught is that God always gives us what we need. The more I reflected on that, the more overwhelmed I became. That God always gives us everything we need. We have to be open to receive it. So that's what I've come to realize. When I open my heart enough to receive the love that is all around me, if all expressions of love are maximal, as the Course in Miracles states, someone opening a door for me or sending me a text or smiling at me or listening to me or doing me a favor are all great expressions of love because all expressions of love are maximal. And my question to myself has been, can I keep my heart open enough to receive them as such? Can I let these expressions of love, however small they may seem to be, fill me with love? Can I be like Sherman and know that there is always enough love to go around? When I send a text, can I send it with the knowledge that I am sending great love? When I smile at someone, can I remember that this too is love? Can I not take it personally if my expression of love isn't received the way I wanted or the way I expected? Can I keep my heart open knowing that I cannot ever be needy for love because love is who I am and love is who you are. Love is who you are. So, is your heart open to be loved by Spirit? I think it starts there for each one of us. Can you let God love you? Then can you let others love you? Can you remember that you are worthy of love, always worthy of love? Can you say yes to a life of love and loving? I realize that many of us have blocks to fully accepting the love that is so freely offered. Maybe fear, past experiences, feeling inadequate, whatever. But if you realize this about yourself, you may want to make an appointment with a practitioner or with a counselor. Explore this. Remove the blocks and be open to receiving the love that is so clearly offered every day. So the challenge is, and I've been thinking about this, how do we keep our hearts open? How do we experience the magnitude of love that is available every single day? And I realize the main way I stay open is by daily spiritual practice. One spiritual practice that I have used for many years, and it really works for me, is called the 555 morning practice. It's a wonderful place to start if you don't have a daily practice, since it only requires 15 minutes of your morning. It consists of 5 minutes of reading, spiritual reading, 5 minutes of writing, and 5 minutes of sitting. Now, spiritual reading is anything that inspires or nourishes or guides us. It can be a sacred text, spiritual book or magazine. The daily guides from the Science of Mind magazine are wonderful. Anything that will uplift you can be your 5 minutes of reading. The concept of writing comes from Julia Cameron's book, The Artist Way, and it is basically writing down what is in your head. There's not a wrong way to do this. Whatever is going through your head, put it down on the paper. It may be a word or a concept from your reading that caught your imagination. But if it is, I don't have anything to write, and I am in a hurry this morning, and I think this is stupid, that's what you write, because that's what's in your head. And continue writing for 5 minutes or until you come to a natural stopping place. The next 5 minutes is spent sitting. You can call it meditating if you want to, but it is simply sitting and being. That's the experience. Sit enlarged and receptive to life. Be open to love as you sit. Anyone can sit, and that is all you do. This 555 practice will enlarge your capacity to give and receive love. I guarantee it works. In Sacred Cup one morning, and we have that at 9 a.m. here every morning, just a discussion group, but we talked about feeling the energy of other people and naming that energy. Several people have told me that I have mother energy, and they looked at me looking for mother energy. And at first that felt strange because I don't see myself as a consummate mother. But after thinking about it, I know that I am happy to give whatever I have energy-wise. I don't replace anybody's mother, but I can add to their mothering. A friend and I declared ourselves sisters many years ago because that was what we were both lacking in our lives. And we have remained that through the years, remained each other's sisters, sharing sister energy. Someone else might have brother energy or father energy or friend energy for you. And this is how you grow your family of love. This is how you grow your family of love. And we will always continue to be given what we need when we grow the love around us. Researcher and author Brené Brown says that we are hardwired for connection. We are hardwired for connection. So I invite you to think about that and choose those you can love in maybe a new way or a different way and share with them how you feel. While I was preparing to speak today, I was also reading this kind of trashy novel. And this line in it caught my attention. And I've got a slide for it. The heart doesn't care about bloodlines or birth parents. It just seems to know how to love in the same way our lungs know how to breathe. Our hearts know how to love. And each one of us is the presence of love when we can open our hearts, when we can be receptive to receiving that love. Would you join me in prayer? Oh, as we come together in the presence of one, I know that each person here, myself included, is filled with that divine energy, the divine love. We are enfolded, guided, and protected by Spirit's love. Love is who we are. I know that we are always worthy. We are always worthy. And any sense of lack or limitation is simply released in this moment. It is not the truth of who we are. We are whole, perfect, and complete, and we are always enough. I know that as we open our hearts to receive, we are filled with all that we need. And I know that as we give our love, we also receive love. There is a continuous flow, and we are part of this flow, this divine flow of love. Thank you, God, for this truth. Thank you, God, for knowing, for being with us, for filling us with knowledge. I release these words knowing they are the truth. It is done. I accept it for myself. I accept it for each person here. I release, I let go, and so it is.